All right, I've had a number of people ask me this week, hey Jason, does the honey and salt pre-workout trend work? What are your thoughts on it? Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you are not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you would be so kind as to drop me a comment down below just to say hello or to give your thoughts, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let's get over to the topic. Obviously, I think most people who know anything about what I do know that I don't care about pre-workouts. I don't do pre-workout food. I train completely fasted. In fact, I literally will lift for an hour and a half and then go do cardio, then eat breakfast. Right? You guys see me squat 500 plus pounds, like on a normal bar, not the safety bar. Do 15, 20 set workouts sometimes. Okay? Completely fasted and move pretty decent weights. So as a 48-year-old man. So for me, I want people to keep in mind, I don't believe in pre-workouts at all. I think the idea is silly. I think it's ludicrous. And I think it's placebo. So let's talk about biologically. Biologically, though, what's happening is people are like, will it work? Well, yeah, it's a placebo. If you think it will work, you'll probably have a better workout. Or you could just get up and decide, let me just put my favorite music on and have a great workout. That actually is equally effective. Now, but let's talk about dietary ends. Okay, there's a couple things to think about. So we'll address the salt, then we'll address the honey side of it. Because I'm going to say straight up, honey doesn't make any sense as a pre-workout. Okay, nutritionally, if your goal was to somehow fuel a workout, it doesn't make sense, and I'll get into why. But let's talk about sodium. So let's talk about salt loading. Yeah, salt absolutely improves performance, but doing it pre-workout has nothing to do with it. Okay, it has to do with your total electrolyte status. Yes, oftentimes because of loss of minerals, salt can become a problem. We know that higher sodium intakes, higher potassium intakes together, absolutely associated with performance in the gym. Okay. This is also a problem for many people who do low sodium diets, particularly for medical reasons. I would fall in that category. I used to. I've gotten to where I can handle it better now. And it's not cardio related. I have Meniere's disease. But over time, I found if I keep my potassium and water really, really high, I can get away with it. But again, stuff has to be on point. People who do lower carbohydrate diets, yeah, you're excreting sodium. People who are sweating a lot, you're excreting sodium. So we know, though, that higher sodium intakes, if they're combined with a high potassium diet, absolutely can improve performance in athletes. But it has to do with your total diet. So the thing I would point out when guys, and I have a friend who's an MD who coaches actually. I've seen him discuss this. We've discussed this before. He's like, yeah, I mean, more sodium in your diet, absolutely. Makes sense if you need it for performance. He's like, but doing it immediately pre-workout, he's like, that doesn't make sense. So dudes are doing it, but it's like, why aren't you just adding more electrolytes to your diet in general? Because again, what are we looking for? So again, people try to do stuff pre-workout. Unless you're eating a giant handful of Anadrol or halotestin, I don't think you're going to get anything other than placebo. Because even stimulants don't improve gains pre-workout. That's been found in the lab. The negative effect on the recovery offsets any extra stimulus. The net effect, you gain nothing, literally nothing in terms of muscle growth from it, even if you felt like you had a better workout. So again, unless whatever you're doing for a pre-workout provides an anabolic benefit, probably not. Now people say, well, food. So yeah, food, absolutely. But again, as he's pointed out, why aren't you hydrated already? So the whole point with the sodium is the hydration status. Do you really think the sodium is getting into everything pre-workout? Because once you start training, your absorptions of stuff starts going down, right? Your body diverts blood flow from your GI tract to your muscle tissue. Okay? So anything you consumed immediately before training is going to absorb at a slower rate than it would under normal circumstances. So if you get up and train at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., you got a problem with anything like that pre-workout. I mean, I get it if you train at 6 p.m. Like, yeah, I'll take it at noon. All right, that makes sense. But if it's not hours prior to training, it's a problem. So if you train first thing in the morning, you got to get up and do it at midnight. So why don't you just keep your electrolyte status high throughout the day? I mean, that's what I do. I don't consume any of that stuff till I eat. If I eat breakfast about 11 or noon, I intermittent fast. Then consume all of it with your normal food. That makes sense. All right, same point. Let's come over. Let's talk about peri-workout nutrition, pre-workout nutrition, if people feel they're going to carb up. Okay. Well, how low are your glycogen stores? Are you in a deficit or something? So if we're eating sufficient carbohydrate, so even if you fast like I do, if you're eating a ton of carbs in the evening, your glycogen stores are full. Like, you guys really think you're burning through 50 grams of carbs during an hour-long workout? I can tell you the research says even for advanced lifters, you're not. You're not doing it. It's delusional. All right? The actual lifting, it's only burning so much. So your glycogen stores should handle it just fine. And as long as your post-workout nutrition later, you're fully replenished. You're not getting anything necessarily extra, but let's say your glycogen is a little low. Okay, so let's say your glycogen depleted somewhat and you need some glycogen pre-workout. You need some glucose. Why would you do honey? Why wouldn't you consume something that's 100% glucose? Honey is 50% fructose, like most refined sugars, approximately. You can't burn fructose. Your liver has to convert it. Fructose in your gut over the course of the day or so will turn into glucose, like stuff that stays in your gut, like fruit, okay? But honey is 50% fructose. So it's like, why would you literally pick something that you know that 50% of the calories cannot be used during your workout? There's a process that could take, a couple of hours before it's converted into glucose by your liver. It has to go all the way through your bloodstream, all the way to the liver. Your liver has to convert fructose into glucose. All right? And then it's not reaching your muscles as effectively through that process. Why wouldn't you just consume rice? Like, if you needed fast absorbing glucose, either a glucose powder or white rice would make sense because all of it's glucose. With honey, only half of it. It doesn't make any sense at all. None. Only 50% of what you're consuming is even burnable for training fuel. Well, so why are you doing it pre-workout? Doesn't make sense. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.